You know that feeling when you walk into a museum and you just feel like you're missing something? Like there's this secret language everyone else seems to get? Well, turns out you're not wrong. Museums totally have their own language, and in the next few minutes, we're going to make you fluent. So let's get to coding. First up, let's tackle the big one, exhibit versus exhibition. Come on, you've probably used them interchangeably. I know I have. But getting this one right, it's honestly the key that unlocks how the entire museum is put together. And trust me, it is way simpler than you think.
So when you're standing there, what are you actually looking at? Let's break down the basic building blocks of any visit, starting with the absolute fundamentals.
Okay, so an exhibit is the specific thing your eyes are on. It might be that giant single T-Rex fossil that takes your breath away, or maybe a little group of 3 Monet paintings hanging together. It could even be a glass case filled with old Roman coins. It's the individual item or a small, self-contained group of things.
The exhibition, though, that's the entire show. It's the whole themed experience, like the treasures of King Tut or the art of the samurai. An exhibition is the big idea, the main event that contains all those individual exhibits.
So, here it is, the big takeaway. You go to an exhibition to see the exhibits. Simple, right? Just remember that one line and boom, you've already cracked the first code of the museum. All right, so what are these exhibits made of? A lot of the time, they're made of artifacts. Now, an artifact is the real deal. An object actually made by human hands. We're talking a clay pot from ancient Greece or a real spacesuit from the Apollo missions. It's an authentic piece of history right there in front of you. But what happens when an artifact is just too old or too fragile or way too precious to be out in the open? Well, that's where a replica comes in. It's a perfect copy, made to protect that delicate original, or maybe to complete a display, or even to let you touch a piece of history without any risk. And I love this because it gets the difference perfectly. An artifact is history. It has that authentic weight of time. But a replica, it tells its story. It lets that history be shared safely and widely. And honestly, both of them are incredibly important. So you've got exhibits, made of artifacts and maybe a few replicas. When a museum puts them all together in a really thoughtful way, that's a collection. This isn't just a random pile of stuff. It's a carefully chosen group of items that, together, tell a much bigger story. But these amazing objects don't just magically appear in the museum, right? So who are the experts working behind the scenes? Let's meet the people who actually find these treasures and bring all their stories to life for us. It really comes down to 2 key roles. The archaeologist, they're the discoverer, and the curator, who is the storyteller. You can kind of think of them as this dynamic duo. One pulls history right out of the ground, and the other makes it speak to you and me. The archaeologists, man, they are part detective, part explorer. They're the ones out in the fields carefully digging, that's called excavation, unearthing the physical clues of our past. It could be anything from a single lost coin to an entire buried city. Now, once an artifact is safely in the museum, the curator takes over. Think of the curator as the director of the movie. They are the experts who do the deep research, they decide which pieces tell the best story, and they design the whole exhibition to take you on this amazing journey of discovery. Okay, so we've got the objects and the experts. But how can you, the visitor, get the most out of your visit? Well, museums have a whole toolkit just waiting for you to help you dive even deeper. Here's your personal toolkit. You could join a guided tour and get the story from an expert, or grab an audio guide to explore at your own speed. You could play with an interactive display to really get hands-on with the information, or hey, just read the label for the quick core facts. Every single tool unlocks a different layer of the story. Before we wrap this up, let's pull the curtain back on one last thing. The incredible, usually invisible, journey an artifact takes. I mean, it doesn't just go from the dirt to a display case. It's a long, careful, and pretty amazing process. This basically maps out the life of an artifact. It starts with excavation, that amazing moment of discovery. Then comes the super careful work of preservation to protect it from falling apart. That's followed by delicate restoration to repair any damage. And only then is it ready for its exhibition, its big debut to the world. Preservation is so important. Seriously, think of it as the science of freezing time. These specialists control everything: light, humidity, air quality, all to make sure that a fragile piece of paper or a vibrant old painting survives for our grandkids to see. It's all about protecting the object so its story can live on. And sometimes an object needs a little more than just protection. It needs healing. While preservation stops things from getting worse, restoration is the incredible art of fixing what's already broken. It's about painstakingly mending a shattered vase or putting tiny fragments back together, all to bring an object closer to how it once looked, so we can understand its story that much better. So if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this idea right here. Every artifact is like a word. Every exhibit is a sentence. And when you put them all together, every single exhibition tells a story. And now you know how to read it. So the next time you walk into a museum, you're not just going to see a room full of old things. You're going to see words and sentences and entire stories just waiting for you. So the only real question is, now that you speak the language, what stories will you uncover?